Hi, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, and we are currently live in the breakout room. So, welcome and welcome, and we love being here for you with quality and value to inspire and to transform. Remember, we are on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and iTunes. Today, as usual, we have a special guest to share with you for your development and growth and to live your better informed life. So, grab a cup, pull up a seat, and stay tuned for the introduction right here, now, live in the breakout room. It's the place for health, happiness, and prosperity. Stay tuned. Our next guest in the breakout room says, I am a Christian immigrant from the Middle East. I am an international best-selling author of 7 published books and the host of 2 podcasts. They are the Thought Leader Revolution podcast and the Sovereign Man podcast. He says, I have helped 11 men and women add 7 to 9 figures to their businesses, and 70 plus men and women add over 100,000 to 500,000 to their businesses. I love helping entrepreneurs win big. I love making people lots and lots of money. I love helping people make the difference they were born to make. He is Nicky Billou. He's the co-founder of E-Circle Academy, as well as creator of the Thought Leader, Heart Leader, TM designation. These are some of his publications: Finish Line Thinking, How to Think and Win Like a Champion, The Thought Leader's Journey, A Fable of Life, The Power of Connecting, How to Activate Profitable Relationships by Serving Your Network, and How to Reach or Create $1 million a year income. So, let's welcome this multifaceted thought leader live in the breakout room. The man, Nicky Billou. Okay,
Andy, that was awesome, man. What an intro.
Yeah, well, you created the inspiration for that intro, bro. So thanks to you. Wonderful. So great. Nice to have you in the breakout room, Nicky, on this wonderful day. And we want to get right into the program. We want to get right into the conversation. This is one of the most important shows because of the level of information and the value of the content I believe you're going to bring to our show today. You said that you were a Christian immigrant from the Middle East. Could you describe for us that combination of a Christian and the Middle East? I'm thinking Persia. Am I right, Nicky?
Yes, from Iran, actually. Exactly.
All right.
I'll tell you a little bit about my backstory.
That's right.
So I was born in Iran. And when I was a boy in the late 70s, the Islamic Revolution happened. And Iran is an overwhelmingly Islamic majority country. Well over 98% of the population is Muslim. So we were definitely in the minority in Iran. And my late father, God rest his soul, he could see the writing on the wall. He could see this was not going to be a great place for him to raise his family anymore. So he bundled us all up and eventually got us out of Iran. And we made it to live in the great nation of Canada. And I thank God every single day for my father and his prescience and being able to get us out of tyranny and into freedom. I don't know if you've been following what's been happening in Iran in the last few days or so, but there was a young woman by the name of Mahsa Amini, 22 years old. She was accosted by the morality police for the crime, and I put this in air quotes because it's really no crime, of having some of her hair showing off of the scarf she was wearing, the hijab she was wearing out there. And as a result, they beat her to death. And there have been
My God.
demonstrations going on all across the country of women and some men standing up for them so they have the rights to be able to just go outside and have their hair uncovered, for crying out loud. I know it's fashionable around the West to say, oh my God, the West, it's so oppressive, it's so racist, it's so sexist. Well, last I checked, they're not going around in the street, police officials, and beating people to death for the crime of showing their hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that's
that's a
right.
wonderful
That's
thing
right.
that we get to live in a free society. Everyone who lives here should be very grateful that you live here. You live in a place, maybe imperfect, maybe he's made some mistakes, but at least they acknowledge those mistakes and they do their darndest to correct them. That's why I believe in
Yeah.
freedom. That's why I believe in free expression. That's why I believe in free enterprise. Now, my late father, he was also an entrepreneur, Andy.
Uh-huh.
And this is a man who always uplifted the people. If you needed a job, he had a job for you, you'd get that job. If he didn't, he'd go make calls on your behalf and go meet people until he got you a job. If you wanted to get a set up in business and you asked him for help, he'd set you up even if you were going to compete with him. He didn't care about that sort of thing. If you worked for him and you were looking to buy a house, an apartment, a car, and you didn't quite have enough money, he'd help you out. And you might think to yourself going, this sounds incredible. It sounds too good to be true. Is that for real? And yeah, it is for real. And then you might go, well, why would he do that? Well, first of all, he was a Christian and he believed he'd been blessed by God Almighty, and it was his duty to share those blessings with others, okay, which is a phenomenal thing. Secondly, he did it because he could. He was successful. He had the financial wherewithal to be able to help people. And so I wanted to be just like Dad. Dad's the greatest man I've ever known. I wanted to be just like him. I want to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to help people. That was my
All
whole
right.
deal. And when I got into
Wonderful.
entrepreneurship, Andy, the first thing
Yeah.
I saw was there's a lot of good men and women that are in business who
Uh-huh.
just, let's be honest, they're not 100% sure what they're doing. They're a little bit
Mm-hmm.
scared. They don't want to come across as pushy. They don't want to come across as salesy. They don't want to reek of commission breath. Like they're just trying to
Yeah.
get the sale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they don't go after the sale. As a result,
Okay.
right, they don't do business where they should be doing business. So they miss out on that success. The person that they could have helped misses out on their help, I should say. And then
Yeah.
some other person, some charlatan marketer who doesn't care
Mm-hmm.
about people, but good at marketing, will come and get that business and not deliver for that person. So the sum total of goodness in the world comes down, Andy. And I hated seeing that, so I thought, wow, I'm going to teach these people. We got to reframe selling to serving. Now, nobody
Okay.
wants to be sold. You
Okay.
don't want to be sold. I don't want to be sold. But everybody
Okay.
wants to be served by a caring
Served. Yeah.
advocate. So we show
All right.
people how to go from selling to serving. The world has changed anyways. No one's interested in high pressure sales tactics. Everyone's interested in being cared about. Maya Angelou, the great American poetess, once said, people will not care what you said. People will not care what you did, but people will always, always care about and remember how you made them feel. And if you make
Yeah,
them
I hear
feel
you.
like
Uh-huh.
you care, wow,
Yeah.
that's what causes business and success to grow. The most successful people in the world in entrepreneurship today are the ones who lead with their hearts, show that they care. That's why we call them heart leaders. That's why we created that
Yeah.
designation. Because it's
Yeah.
one thing to be a thought leader and have great thoughts and be leading the world, but you got to also be a heart leader and have great feelings, great caring, and be leading the world that way.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Nikki. I can hear your passion. I can hear your enthusiasm and your energy, and it's really refreshing. Look, here's the thing. There's a lot of injustice that is happening in the world today, and most of us, we'd like to see things different. We'd like to see things change. But in our little corner where we operate, where we function, where we do business, where we do podcast shows and stuff, how, Nikki, can we live a life of example that shows that we are not only looking for change, but that we are the agents of change? Because basically, we must be the change that the world needs to see, or that we need to see in the world. It starts with us. How did that change, that transformation happen with you? Because I can hear it in your voice. I can see the energy, the passion in your face. What was that enabling moment for you so that you came to the conclusion that you got to be different?
Well, like I said, my father was a great example that way for me. I mean, that's what I saw. That's what I learned. It's who you hang around matters a great deal, right? That's one of the things we say to people inside our community is we've curated a community of heart-driven people who want to change the world with what they do and build wonderful businesses.
Right.
So you want to be
Right.
around that kind of energy. You want to be around the energy of people who see the world the way you do, right?
Right.
And I'll tell you a story. Okay. So there was a woman, right? And she came to us. And this woman had been the leader of a company's country operations that was the
Mm-hmm.
leading personal development company, one of the top 5 of all time. They've been around since the 60s, okay? And they operate in
Okay.
various countries. And
Mm-hmm.
she had brought a guy on to work with her, and they just clashed, and she ended up leaving. That's how bad it got.
Okay. Okay.
And so she came to work with us, and initially she came, she checked it out, and then she left. And there were a few people who'd come and checked us out at the same time who'd stuck it out with her. The same, they came in the same.
Yeah.
And 2 of them had just grown massive businesses. One fellow went from 6 figures to 7 figures. And so
Okay.
she saw him and went, oh my God, I remember him from when I was there back then. He did this. He says, okay, I got to do this. It's my turn. I got to make this happen for myself. And, this guy wanted to help people, and that's how he became successful. He was a heart-driven guy. She could see that. She could tell that. And she was like, okay, you know what? I'm a heart-driven person. I could do this too. And I got to tell you, in a very short period of time, she started to work with us, and she started to take on what we taught her. And we taught her to lead from her heart. We taught her to be clear about, the target market she was going after. Because a lot of people also have the stupid Mayo message. They try to go, oh, I help people deal with overwhelm. Oh, I help people, be happier. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to pay you to become happier or deal with overwhelm. They're going to pay you to help them make more money, to cut their expenses, to to lose weight, to fix their mental health, to fix their relationship, or help them get over a relationship or find a relationship. They're going to help you to solve a real problem, not some airy-fairy problem that people think
something specific. Specific.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
So we helped her get that clear. So she said, look, I have a lot of entrepreneurs, right, who are under tremendous pressure, and they got nowhere to let it off. They haven't got a place they can go and honestly, they can't go to their employees and talk about the pressures they're feeling. Their employees will freak out. Everyone will quit, right? They take it home. Well, their wife's going to quit on them. They're going to, what are you doing bringing this crap home? You got to bring your best ass, right? And
right.
So she said, okay, I'm going to be a confidant. I'm going to help you release all the stress and tension so you can continue to operate at a high level. You can preserve your marriage. You can grow your business. This is very powerful. A lot of people like this. So she started to do this. In her first month, she made $10,000. In her second month, she made $12,000. In her third month, she made $18,000. But in her fourth month, Andy, she made $62,200 as a confidant to entrepreneurs who own their own kind of $10 million and up company. And it was incredible to watch her do this. So she got all this figured out for herself. Okay. And, I really cared about this person. I still care about this person. Right. And so one day, she lives in Ottawa. I live in Toronto. That's about a 5-hour drive from one another.
Okay.
And so my oldest son plays soccer, football. And he is 16 now, but he was 12 at the time. And he's, right now he's quite good. He's, he's playing at a high level, and he's looking to see if he can go pro, which would be amazing.
Right.
But back then he was just a 12-year-old kid playing, you know what I'm saying? So he had a tournament in Ottawa. And so we drove to Ottawa, and she had a son, my son's age. And so I called her up and I said, hey, listen, my son and I were driving to Ottawa for this tournament. Would you and your son like to come meet us for lunch after the tournament's over? Maybe you might even come watch some of the tournament. She says, well, yeah, let's do that. So, she came, and they watched a bit of the tournament. And then we had some lunch. We spent, about an hour and a half having lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had a really great time. And then I went home. A few weeks later, we had one of our branded thought leader immersion workshops. These are the workshops we
Right.
put together to help
Yeah.
the good men and women who want to, expand their business, add 100,000, 500,000, a million to their business. This is how we show them how to do that, right? This is like kind of the
Okay.
bridge from that terrible place to the great place, as it were.
Right.
So
Right.
she was part of the community. She'd signed up for our program. So obviously she came. We also had 8 new people in the room. So when she came in, we did the program. It's great. And there's a point at which we do our enrollment opportunity for the new people. It's kind of the upsell, as it were, right?
Yeah.
And so I like to ask our people to share why they think this is a great place rather than for me to share it. So, if they're there live, they share it live. Sometimes we've recorded, things for these people to listen to, like, that sort of thing. And so we did that. And this was the time where I got up and I said, hey, does anyone want to share their experience? And she just bounded on stage. She just leapt up before I could even pick on it. Me, like, okay, great. That's fantastic. And then she looked around the room and she proceeded to cry. I mean, tears, rivers. And I am like any red-blooded man. When faced with a crying woman, what did I do? I panicked. I see crying. Oh my God, what's going on? And so she turned over to me before she spoke to the crowd. And she said, Nicky, you didn't know this, but when you and your little son came to visit with me and my little son asked me, Mommy, who are we going to go meet? And I told him, we're going to go meet Nicky Billou and his son. And she said her little boy, who's usually so excited, a hush came over him. He got very quiet and very serious. And he looked at her and he goes, oh, Mommy, are we going to go meet the man who saved our family?
Wow.
And I just looked at her and look, man, Andy, I'm not a soy boy. I'm not a beta male. I'm not a cuck. Yeah. I'm a Sigma man. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I don't cry.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I cried. We hugged. And then, she said, Nicky, you didn't know this, but when I came to you, the bank was after us. They were about to foreclose on our home. We hadn't paid our mortgage in months.
Yeah.
And my husband and I were fighting every day. And it looked like we were going to break up and we were going to lose our family. You literally helped us save our family.
Amazing.
And so I sat there, first of all, I was very humbled by that because, it wasn't me, it was God. And I give all the glory to God. And it's, I was in this instance, an instrument for him. And for that, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
But secondly, it's, you never know what someone's dealing with. You never know the hell they're going through. You never know the pain that they're facing. And you must either way decide, I'm going to care about this person. This is a good person God put in front of me. And you got to give him your all. Because when you do that, you'll save a life. And I bet you there's people in your life that you've done something amazing for. There's people in your listeners' lives that they've done something amazing for. And if you put your heart and soul into, I'm going to do this every single day, wow, that's how the world becomes bigger,
a better place,
more amazing place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And so here's the other thing that happened in that room.
Yeah.
So there were 8 people, and we normally hand out registration forms after some of our people talk, and I tell people what the program is and what it costs and all that jazz. And I hand out registration forms, and usually some people are eager, they sign up right away, and some people I sit down with, right? Because they need some persuading.
Right.
They all signed up immediately. There was no persuading required that day. They all signed up immedely. And there were 2 people, 2 men in that room who had told me beforehand that they were not going to sign up because they said, one of them said, look, Nick, listen, I've been at these things before, these things before. And I know you're going to have an upsell. I know. I just need you to know I'm not signing up for your upsell. I just don't want you to be disappointed, Nicky. All right. I'm not signing up for your upsell. And I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. And
the story made the biggest difference. The story broke everybody's heart.
Intensely, it said the same thing. Yeah. But this one guy, when he signed up, he walked over to me and he said to me, and excuse my language, you son of a bitch. And then he started to smile. And
Yeah.
he said, I wasn't going to sign up. He said, but I guess you're not full of crap. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right. So
you know, and then he said,
Nikki, what she did
let me
in a
finish the thought
powerful
here. Let me
way.
finish the thought here. And then he
Yeah.
said, and I guess I do need some help.
Okay.
And you know, when that happened, I just looked at him and I looked at the other people in the room. And I also realized something else in that moment. Um, there's people who are closing themselves off because they just don't
Hmm.
know if they can trust you. They just
Yeah.
don't know if you're a good person. You're going to be one more
Yeah.
charlatan marketer who's going to promise
Yeah.
them the moon and talk to them and get their hopes up and not deliver and not do
Right.
crap and not care that they're losing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, that just, made me go to God again and say, God, please help me be worthy of
Ah.
your charge.
Yeah.
Please help me be worthy of your trust in me to help people so that I
Yeah.
get to help the people that need my help.
Wow. That's powerful. She validated you in a magnificent way that you didn't even see coming. It's like a curveball, so to speak. Hey, Nikki, tell us the big difference between an expert and a thought leader. What's
Man, that's a great
the
question.
dichotomy between the expert and the thought leader?
That is a great question. So, there's a man whose work I've followed for a long time. His name's Matt Church. He's a mentor to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And Matt says it like this: an expert is someone who knows something, while a
Yeah.
thought leader is someone who's known for knowing something.
Okay.
Experts are a dime a dozen. There's a gazillion experts out there, but nobody knows why they matter. But thought leaders are rare and valuable, right? So an expert could be, um, you know, somebody who's like a great basketball player.
Okay.
Jim Jones plays great
Yeah.
basketball, right? While a
Yeah.
thought leader in basketball could be the legendary Michael Jordan,
I
for
hear
me.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful. Okay. So you got two podcasts. One is Thought Leader Revolution podcast, and the other is the Sovereign Man podcast. What's the
Yeah.
major difference between the two in terms of the niche, the market, the message that you send out?
Well, the Sovereign Man podcast is the podcast for men dealing with men's issues.
Uh
It's
huh.
all I think we're living in a day and time where men and manhood and masculinity are not valued the way they once were. A lot of men
Okay.
are nervous, afraid, confused. They don't know how to be. We believe that men are awesome, masculinity is awesome, and that men need to be around other men to teach them how to
Yeah.
be men. That's how men have always learned how to be men. So
Okay.
we're showing you how to be the best version of yourself. We're showing you how to be sharp and as iron. Now, a lot of men these days don't even have a tribe. They don't have friends. And men have always been in tribes, in
Yeah.
groups, in gangs. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's the way men are. And so
Mm-hmm.
what we do is we give men an opportunity to be a part of something, to learn, to grow, to contribute, and to sharpen themselves. That's what we're all about. The podcast talks about those kinds of issues. So we get into relationships, we get into success, how to become more successful as a man. We talk about man skills. We talk about things like keeping your word. There's a lot of men today who don't understand how important that is. You as a man need to
Yeah.
keep your word.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yep.
men don't keep their word anymore, so we help these men keep their word. And that's really what that one's all about. The Thought Leader Revolution podcast is a business podcast. It's
Okay.
aimed at thought leaders, prospective thought leaders, coaches, consultants, experts, entrepreneurs, anybody who is in business and really wants to find a way to attract more clients for themselves, to
Yeah.
stand
Yeah.
out, to do more of what they were meant to do on this planet. That's what the Thought Leader Revolution podcast is all
Great.
about. And it's all
Yeah.
about showing you how not to just be an expert and how to be a thought leader. And I'll tell you a little story around that. So
Mm-hmm.
we once had a young man come to see us who was an expert personal trainer. He was very good. He knew what
Okay.
he was doing. He
Yeah.
kept people fit, but he was just a personal trainer, And I asked him, "Hey, man, how do you help people? What do you do? Who do you help?" He goes, "Well, I teach them how to work out. I teach them how to do cardio and weights, and I know all
Yeah.
about that." And man, you could see people's eyes would glaze over when they listen to that, right? And then I said, no, man, you can't do it that way. So who do you want to help? He says, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help some people lose weight. Okay, I'm going to help people lose weight. All right, okay, that's good, that's better. Who are you going to help? Okay, I'm going to help doctors. My dad's a doctor and they got lots of money. All right, but dude, that's not a good message. You have lots of money, so come work with me. No one's going to come work with you.
Wow.
It was wild. So it didn't work out for him, right? He tried it, but didn't work out for him. And then he goes, okay, I'll narrow my niche more. I'll narrow it more. I'll work with cardiologists. I'll go work with cardiologists. Okay, all right, man.
Right.
They have even more money. Okay, even better message, right? Not, yeah, you're cardiologists. You have even more money than doctors. Come work with me. It was funny, man. So it didn't work out. Then he started to work with this man who was this Afro-Cuban man named Papito Wilson. And Papito, man, was this beast. He didn't need to lose weight, but he had a missing leg, right? And he had won medal at the Paralympic Games in events. So, like, man, this dude was a serious dude. So, he started working with Papito, and he got Papito ready to, like, fitter, stronger, tougher, badder. And Papito got back into competing at the Paralympic Games, right? And I'm like, damn, that's cool. And he said to me, Nicky, wow, this is pretty cool. And I got this feeling that he wanted to work with people with missing limbs. And he said to me, Nicky, I want to work with people with missing limbs. And I just thought to myself, man, this guy, he can really help these people because he's an expert for sure. And he knows, but he can become a thought leader in this space of people with missing limbs. So he said, Nicky, I can really help these people, man. I'm an expert, but I could become a thought leader in this space for people with missing limbs. And I'm like, okay, great, go do it. In 6 weeks, and he signed up 400 clients.
Wow.
400 clients. He couldn't do one-on-one anymore. He had to do group. Now ask yourself, why was he successful? Well, first of all, nobody else was going after these people. Nobody.
Right.
Everyone thought they got missing limbs, they can't work out. Well, he thought, they can work out.
Yeah.
You can work out. That was his message. You can work out, you can become strong. Now, you and I, we have all our limbs by the grace of God, and I thank God. And I really cannot, from experience, say I understand what it's like to be that person.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I get to have all my limbs, candidly. But I can imagine and put myself in their shoes that the message from the world has been, and maybe even from themselves, that, you can't work out because, you don't have a leg, you don't have an arm, whatever. And the underlying message is you're broken, you're not good enough, you're not like everybody else. His message is you're like everybody else. You're going to be tough. You're going to be strong. You're going to be badass. And just imagine how that felt to somebody who's been hearing a message of disempowerment, to hear that message of empowerment, of badassery. That's how come it worked. So he went from making less than $1,500 a month to making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, even $100,000 in a single month.
Wow. Fantastic. Amazing. Hey, Nicky, tell us about the E-Circle Academy and how you found the inspiration to put that together, because I've seen some wonderful stuff about it in terms of the impact it has had on people's lives and so on. Tell us a little bit about the E-Circle Academy.
Well, the E-Circle Academy is our company and our program that we help people, essentially, as I said, that are stuck, that are, really good. They're experts, but they're stuck. They're not thought leaders. They're not known. The world doesn't understand how amazing they are, and they don't know how to have the world understand that. They don't know how to attract people to them. And what the E-Circle Academy does really is it has a methodology to show them how, through being known as the go-to person in their space, they can attract clients, and they can add 100,000, 200,000, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million a year or more to their business. That's what the E-Circle Academy is all about. And we've been around for a while. We've had about 170 odd people go through the programs. Right. And we're a little bit picky on who we bring on. And, there's an investment required to do it. And it's a proper investment, not a ridiculous investment. People so many people undercharge. I mean, that's so what I see. And those 170 people, like I said, our results have been good. 11 have made over $1 million, some over 10 million, which is spectacular and great. And Another over 70 have made an extra 100,000, quarter million, half a million. So
Wow,
that's that's
amazing.
the
Yeah,
that's the deal.
yeah.
We're very proud of the fact that we've helped people be successful in that regard.
Great, wonderful. We're going to go for a quick break, but before we do so, Nick, I want to ask you about how you managed through the height of the pandemic. I know that you have some business skills, you have some thought leadership skills, but what are some of the things that you would have learned as a great lesson that you would share to people with regards to how to manage yourself through that crisis where nothing was normal and we had to make a whole lot of adjustments? You came out with some jewels, I know that. Share some of that with us, please.
Well, look, I think that the before I get into what we did, this pandemic,
Uh
honestly,
huh.
this was the first time in over 100 years that the world completely lost its mind and started to close itself off. And if you
That's
look
right.
at it, the number of people that actually died of
Mm,
the disease in the pandemic, it really
yeah,
wasn't very different from any of the past ones that were in the world. But this
right.
time, there were nefarious forces that decided they wanted to lock everything down and shut everything down. And that shouldn't have happened. I think everyone
Yeah,
agrees right
yeah.
now the reaction was a massive overreaction. And
Uh
what,
huh.
what should have happened, honestly, was that they should have identified vulnerable people, which were people elderly, people with massive health issues, and they should have done
Yeah,
something to assist those. But the rest of the world should have been allowed to go on with life. And
as usual.
there should have been a lot that the government and others did to help people live a healthy lifestyle. But of course, they didn't do
Yeah,
that because they were under the control of certain nefarious dark forces, and big pharma, got in, and they just had a massive customer base. You got to take these shots.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah.
billions of people around the world. So the amount of money made by companies like Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson and
Hmm.
Johnson is absolutely insane, and this was because of
Outrageous.
the honestly the egregious lies told by
Yeah,
many people in the media and the government. And I think we all need to see that and understand our freedom is precious, and we can't give it up to these people the next time they come up with whatever the hell else they think is happening. You've got
yeah.
eyes to see, you've got feelings to feel. And I say this as a man who got the Delta variant of COVID, was in
Okay.
bed for 3 weeks, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a nasty experience for me. It was not a fun experience. It was the
Wow.
worst experience of anything I've ever caught disease wise. Any flu, it was 10 times worse. However,
Wow.
was that any reason to shut the world down? No,
No,
not from my
no,
perspective. Not at all.
no.
No reason to do that or any of that stuff. So, one of the things that we did was we really kept up our exercise regime, and we thought it was important for us to do that. They wouldn't want to let people go outside in our country for a while, but we would still go outside. My son and I would play basketball together, and I would do push ups and sit ups. I went and I ordered gym equipment. I had some gym equipment, so I brought that gym equipment to the home and I started using it. And I bought
Yeah,
more gym equipment. Like right now, honestly, I could, if the world got shut down again, I could do a complete, comprehensive set of workouts at home. My family could do them with me. There'd be no reason for us not to be able to stay fit. And I would say this to anyone listening to this: you need to exercise. You need to take care of your body.
yep.
Man,
That's right.
woman, child, doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah.
Exercise, take care of yourself, strengthen your body. If you're not strong, you can't survive
That's right.
physical problems in the world. And if
Yeah,
this was a
yeah.
real issue for most people, this would have been a problem if you hadn't taken care of yourself. And then
That's right.
obviously, if you're not strong physically, you won't have mental confidence either. So those are
That's
the
right.
things that we really focused on. And we also really told people and ourselves practice: get off the news, listen to podcasts,
Yeah,
read
yeah,
books. You know, like every day you should be, right now, pandemic or no pandemic, working out every day, eating good food, and then you should be filling your mind with positivity. You should be reading books and listening to podcasts that are positive. They're going to inspire you, they're going to empower you, going to teach you how to do things. That's
yeah.
the top kind of three things that I recommend everyone do: physical exercise, mental diet from bad news and news altogether, and mental feasting on positivity.
Hey, wonderful, wonderful. Here's the thing. My wife and I got COVID, and we were like out of it for about what? 6 weeks, and things were a bit tough because where we are, there's so much misinformation about what was happening. But we had someone who knew drugs and he knew medicine and stuff and knew how to help us take care of ourselves, and that we did that. We self-medicated. Of course, we had to isolate ourselves from the rest of the world stuff. And but what we did was we learned that the things that people were saying about the pandemic and COVID-19 itself was so misleading that a lot of people died even before they were supposed to. And I mean, I'm making a bold statement. What I'm saying is that they felt so hopeless and helpless that by the time COVID came around, there was no resistance. And that was a sad, sad thing. But we learned a lot, and we are better off as a result of it. I see it maybe as a blessing in disguise, and that's a perspective that some people will not share. But we have learned better about ourselves. We have become stronger, and I'm grateful that you had that opportunity to share that information with us as well, Nikki. So we're gonna go for a quick break as we are live in the breakout room with Nicky Billou. So stand by. We'll be back with you shortly. FindRadioGuest.com, the place to click to find guests to interview for free. And if you're a radio show booker, podcaster, talk show host, or television producer, then this is the place to get podcasts and radio interviews or promote your books and products as a guest expert sponsor. FindRadioGuest.com. Check it out. Yeah, so we are back. We are back live in the breakout room with the man Nicky Billou. Nicky, you have published 7 books, and they are powerful books, and they have sent a lot of information and messages about business and life and money and income to the world. How did you get the time and the inspiration to do all that writing and at the same time continue a normal business?
Well, writing's always been a dream for me. I've always wanted to be a writer and to have books published. And when I had one of the men that I had mentored back when I was a fitness trainer he wrote a bunch of books and he started to put a program together to show people how to write books. And so I went to one of his training classes and he talked about how to write a book. And I thought to myself, man, I could do this. This isn't that hard. So I sat down and I took what I learned. And I actually wrote a book in a month. That was a short book. It was, 30 pages long, but we had it ready in a month and I self-published it. It was out there and it was finished Line Thinking, How to Think and Win Like a Champion. And I started to hand out copies of that book to everybody. And then I started to do speaking engagements and sell copies of the book to people as well. So, that book did quite well. It became a #1 international bestseller. And I was excited because it was helping me actually generate business. People would read the book, do some of the exercises in the book, and then we would have discovery calls and we would end up doing business together. It was incredible. It was magnificent. It was phenomenal. And as time went on, I just realized that I had more I wanted to share, and this was a really good way for me to get people to know who I am and what I can do, and obviously help me grow my business. So the book became an adjunct to me doing my business. So I started to write other books. I wrote a children's book called Kathy Capitalist and Johnny Jobmaker, and that was written for my kids to teach them about capitalist principles. And then I started to write more books around, business. So I wrote The Thought Leader's Journey, A Fable of Life. That's a book which just outlines from soup to nuts everything you need to do to become a sought-after thought leader and grow your business through thought leadership. It was absolutely magnificent. It was absolutely incredible to do that. And I was really, really thrilled that I was able to do that. And after I got that book out there, that book helped me get a lot of people to become my clients. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people became my clients after they read that book. And then I wrote another book called The Power of Connecting, How to Activate Profitable Relationships by Serving Your Network. And I did that book as a collaboration with Kai Bjorn. I did all of the writing. Kai supplied some of the ideas, and we put a book together about networking. Kai was the former national director of BNI Canada. And so, BNI is an organization that helps people get referrals. That book is a
Mm-hmm.
very valuable book for anybody who wants to learn how to mine their network for business. And then
Okay.
I wrote another book in business called, How to Create $1 Million a Year Income with Perry Wong. Perry's one of my clients who has worked very hard to go out there and build himself $1 million a year income as the top insurance broker in his company in all of Canada. He's number one.
Okay. Right.
And
Right.
incredible. He's got $1 million a year income. So we wanted to talk about what it takes to actually create $1 million a year income. So those are 4 of the business books that I've written.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Line Thinking has a second edition, so we expanded it,
Yeah.
and added some chapters and pages to it. So those 5 books are my key business books. I wrote a political book as well, and I obviously wrote the book that you talked about,
Yeah.
the kids book as well.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
those have been fun for me. I enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
I've written I'm writing another political book, and I've written a novel too, and I want to get these books out very, very quickly. So I'm working very hard on getting that done.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's fun, it's exciting. Plus, it also helps with the brand, right? Like when people
Okay.
realize that the
Yeah.
person on that, if I'm looking to become a guest on a show like yours, and I let them know how many
Yeah.
books I've written, obviously anyone who sees that is going to go, wow, this dude writes books, and not one book,
Mm.
but like 8 books. Like,
All
wow,
right.
this dude is the real deal. He's obviously got something to say. He's obviously smart. If you're an author of 8 books, you're looked at differently than if you've never written
Okay.
any books.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Thanks for sharing, Nikki. You have worked with a lot of CEOs and entrepreneurs and people are looking to do startups. I want you to tell us what's the difference between the challenge in working with someone who's entrenched like a CEO as opposed to someone who's looking to do a startup as an entrepreneur and needs to do so basically from the ground up. What's the difference in terms of the challenges?
Well, look, the number one challenge you have when you're starting up is you want people to know who you are, and you want people to buy whatever you have to offer to the marketplace, right?
Uh-huh.
And an established organization doesn't necessarily have that as a problem anymore. They may want to like expand their sales, obviously, but
Uh-huh.
they have an established base of clients. They've got other problems they need to deal with. If they have employees, they probably need to like make sure that their employees are happy and they've got like good esprit de corps, and they're going to attract the people that are going to help the organization grow and thrive. Those are the kinds of things that I believe people need to understand when they have a growing enterprise. But if someone's looking to start a business, the
Yeah.
best thing for them to do, honestly, is get my book, The Thought Leader's Journey. That's about somebody who's looking to start a business. And we get into all the challenges there that you
Okay.
are going to face and what you have to do to overcome them. And
Yeah.
you can buy it on Amazon, or you can get it for free. I offer it at ecircleacademy.com/TLJ book, for Thought
Yeah.
Leaders Journey
Yeah.
book. So you
Yeah.
can get a Kindle copy of it for free that way. And pretty soon, we've got a few hundred copies lying around, and I want to get them in the hands of people. So I may start
Yeah.
offering to ship that out to certain people
Okay.
if they just would pay for shipping. You don't need to pay for the
Yeah.
book. So
Okay. Great. Thanks for sharing, Nikki. What would you say? What advice would you give to naysayers, people who are doubters? They don't believe in the kind of marketing that you do. They don't believe in the kind of thought promotion that you do. What would you say to them that would bring them to a place to understand that they need to at least have an open mind and see the information and hear the information before they actually make a decision or a choice? The naysayers, what would you say to them?
nothing. I don't believe in trying to persuade
It makes me
someone who's
laugh.
unpersuader and
I hear you.
persuadable.
I hear you. I
Listen,
hear you.
if you're in, for example, if you're in politics,
Uh-huh.
you need to go after the persuadables. I don't
Okay.
go like if you're a conservative and somebody is a raging, leftist, you're
Uh-huh.
not going to convince them otherwise. Why would you try?
Okay.
But if you're a
Okay.
conservative and someone is maybe middle of the road and unsure, those are the people you look to talk to. I'm looking to speak to the persuadable. I'm looking to speak to the person who is seeking. I'm not
Yeah.
looking to speak to someone who's a hater. Haters can go hate.
Okay.
Go with
Okay.
God, but just go.
I love that. On that note, we have come to the end of this amazing episode with Nicky Billou. And now I'm going to give him a minute or two to just share his information with regards to his expertise, his books, the stuff that he does, how you can make contact with him, how you can get him to hold a conference for you or speak a note for you. And he can share also his social networking handles. So, Nicky, up to you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Andy. So, okay, you can find me anywhere on social media at Nicky Billou. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Just type in my name; it'll easily come up, and you can find me. I'm also on some of the alternative places. I've got a channel on Rumble at Persian Poet. I've got a channel. I'm also on Getter at Nicky Billou and Parler, free speech platforms, and I believe those are important to be supported. And I'm on Gab as well, that way. So that's how you can find me there. But if you're a business person and you want to have a conversation about your business, and you're interested in finding out how you can go from being an unknown expert to a known and sought after thought leader who's able to attract an extra mid six or seven figures a year to your business, then go to my main website, ecircleacademy.com. And there's a button there in the top right-hand corner. And that button says book a success call. Click on that and book a call. It's absolutely free. Let me know that you came from this show, and I'd be happy and honored to have a conversation with you. And let's have a real conversation about what's going on in your business. Where is it at? What's not working? What you need to do in order to shift what's not working and have it actually work so that you can grow your business. And I really want to encourage you to take me up on this. A lot of people listen to this and they just go, oh no, I could never do that. He's too remote. He's too up there and I'm down there. No, that's not true. We're all at the same level. There's no one who's above you. There's no one who's below you. We're all children of God. And if you really want to have a conversation and you're serious, you own a business, then please make sure that you take advantage of that and do that. And the last thing I want to say is share lots of love with Andy for having such an awesome show and bringing great people on it for you.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for sharing, Nicky. You have been amazing and an inspirational guest on our show, live in the breakout room on Andy's Personal Development. It has been an extreme pleasure with your energy and your poise and your commitment to reality. We appreciate you, my friend. We love having you and we love you being on our show. So, folks, remember the three watchwords: health, happiness, and prosperity. And take care of yourselves. Be good to one another, be good to yourself, and be good to the world. Remember, we are on all the social networks and we're looking forward to providing good, healthy, uplifting, and positive, inspirational, transformational information and content so that you can live a better informed life. So until next time, this is Andy's Personal Development, and his guest Nicky Billou saying, Godspeed, Shalom, Namaste. Hold on for a while, Nicky. Until next time. Bye, folks.